or you can remain on the line and we will answer your call as
soon as possible. Today's show is me just being on hold, and then you guys finally listening to me order a colonoscopy.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Can we just...
You said you've already been on hold for like 10 minutes now?
I've been on hold for 10 minutes.
Wow.
What is the point where you give up and think that everybody's probably just...
Yeah, you can pull it down so your face is less...
I have to believe that at some point someone will answer the phone and be like, what?
They said you can leave a message. You don't want to leave a message?
What did it say to do to leave a message?
It'll come back around.
Well, what'll happen is I won't get it when they call me back, right? Yeah. I'll miss that and I'll call them back and it'll be another 10, 20 minutes. So I'm just thinking that if we could just, take some time. Yeah. But I thought I'm going to go ahead and hang it up. But have you seen the Friends episode when Phoebe's been hanging on for like 6-8 hours?
Oh my gosh, I think so.
And like she's just sitting there and she knows that the second like she walks away, that's my fear here, is that the second I think
you're calling it a busy time. I feel like you should probably call first thing in the morning, right?
3:17 is a busy time. Yeah, it's probably pretty busy. It's after school.
Prefer to leave a message and receive a call back. Press 1 now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you going to somehow get this out of the show? Bless your heart. We'll have to figure that out. Hi. Yes. My name is Jennifer Dennis, JenniferDennis. And my number is 713. And I would like to call and ask for an appointment for colonoscopy. I would like to go ahead and schedule that as a preventative measure to check things out. You know what I mean? All right. Thank you so much. Jennifer Dennis. There.
You know what I mean.
I don't want to go into any weird detail.
I'm sure they do know what you mean.
I read a statistic that the number one killer of like women
is
from ages 39 to like 45 or something around in there is colon cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was more of a masculine disease.
I thought it would be heart disease. Is it more masculine?
Well, I thought it's because you eat a lot of red meat, but then I also heard that that's not really
I eat a lot of red meat. Is it the red meat thing?
That's what I heard, but then I've also talked to somebody last week that was like, actually, they can't really prove that that's related. It just
we can't even do this show.
Well, yeah.
I've got to get back into my research mode.
Yeah.
Figure out what this is.
Get on WebMD.
Yep. Well, so it's time.
Well, it's that age where you need to take care of those things.
People are starting to tune in because
we had 37 people watch the YouTube version of the podcast last week.
What?
And that's without me posting it anywhere.
Okay, I'm sort of mad about that because here I am and I'm wearing like the same shirt.
No one would have known that, or they would have thought we were recording on the same day.
I know they're going to be like, oh, they must be stacking these.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
It's just a great shirt.
Different
you
shirt.
Look great in green. We talked about this.
I look great in green. But here's what I want to say. Everyone's tuning in thinking this is our 100th episode, but I hope that you're putting 99. Our 99.4 because we don't want to round up, so it has to be 0.4.
99.4. Yes, because gosh, we are planning an episode, but it's the 100th episode is coinciding with the most chaotic moment for each of us in our jobs ever, as long as we've ever lived.
Exactly. It's called Easter.
Yeah,
it is
Easter
Holy
for
Week.
you. And then the week after Easter, we're launching a huge series as a midpoint for our Deep and Wide kind of giving initiative. And so my whole life has been creating this content that's going to support that. And so it's funny that our hundreds...
It's going to be, I think it's an amazing... Yeah. I think it's going to be really incredible for people, really meaningful. But yes.
But our 100th episode landed right in the middle of this chaos. And we're like, gosh, we don't want to phone it in on the 100th episode. We want to do a good job.
But we also don't want to raise our expectations to, Beth Moore level.
Gosh, Beth Moore.
I did get, oh, that's my mom. Do you think the Baylor Medical called her?
Instead? I doubt it.
Hey, Jennifer, it's your mom. Somebody just called and asked about your colonoscopy.
But yeah, no, this is not our 100th episode. We did want to talk about, first and foremost, do you think the name change should happen for the 100th episode or after the 100th episode?
I think we can reveal it at the 100th episode.
Oh, okay.
Or we can just say it now.
Because, I've got to change stuff in the system to make it show up.
I think it should begin 101. We begin with the new name.
Okay, great. Now, would I say episode 1? Or would I say episode 101?
I think we stick with 10. I think we go 101, and I think you're going to update some of the stuff about it, like the picture or some of the background.
Yeah. Yes,
I did stuff like that.
I did get a new thumbnail made, and it's actually got our faces on it.
Is it is it good? It's a good picture.
It's the best picture I've ever seen of you ever in my life.
Oh, now I'm like really
No, it's the
super
one that I
curious.
took in here, and you're like, oh, it looks great. Like you were sitting right in that
I even
chair.
agreed?
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Well, I
but
can't
it doesn't
believe it.
matter. It's going to be this small on your phone, like literally this tiny.
Like a
so
dot.
Nobody cares.
I can do that.
But I do think that people, when you see faces on a podcast thumbnail, are more interesting than just like clip art.
This is not a non-sequential thing to say, but I have a problem with my smile.
You didn't smile. It
No,
was more of like a closed
I
mouth
grit my
smile.
teeth at night, so I've been pushing 2 of my teeth forward. So now if you get me at a certain angle and a smile with my teeth, it looks like I'm missing a front.
Can I be honest
upper
with you? We're
tooth.
talking about being old and getting colonoscopies. I think my teeth are shifting.
Let's see
My
'em.
teeth, no, my teeth suddenly started feeling different a few months ago, and I was like, "Why does this feel? Can your teeth shift? Like they can shift?"
Yes.
That was disturbing to me. I didn't prepare myself for this.
I don't think I've ever, I don't know that I haven't felt mine shift.
Then how do you know they're shifting?
Well,
I'm not saying they're wiggly. I'm saying they felt different in my mouth.
I just need Invisalign. I think I need Invisalign.
Oh, okay.
Olivia's had it for 6 weeks and hers. I think the fact that they feel differently in your mouth probably has something to do with TMJ or something with your jawline.
Really?
Because your teeth don't just all of a sudden you wake up and they're in a different space.
Maybe I'm stressed
It's
tonight.
way more gradual than that.
Maybe I'm like really grinding
I
my
think
teeth
it's
or
probably
something.
your jaw. That would
Okay.
be my guess.
Okay.
My obviously unknowledgeable opinion.
Okay.
So all of that to say, we are really excited to be here with you on the 99.4 episode.
Yes.
So it's just a little half episode.
Yes, a half
Not
episode.
not even a half, if you will.
Yes, I would say it was. We want to make sure that we're connecting with our people. We do love
Yes.
our community. And
We
don't
haven't
wanna
forgotten that we have the show.
leave you hanging. But I will say that we are looking at the next. Like you're asking me, like, so should I record? Should I book interviews? You were asking me.
Yes,
like,
I'm asking you today. Are we going to stay with the show because you've been busy for 2 weeks?
What
I don't
are
know if you're gonna give it
3
up.
good reasons to keep the show going?
I think that we continue to tell stories about people who love and are serving Jesus.
Yeah.
I think that we try to keep it light.
Mhm.
Someone literally told me this last week that they went and tried one of the restaurants that we recommended,
Wow.
Candente.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's so cool.
they listened and they did something.
Yes. And
So
I think it's just an encouragement, friendships, relationships,
Yeah.
but it also helps people know what's happening within our church and what's going on, stay, informed. But mostly it's to encourage people in their faith and in their
Yeah.
walk.
What I'm finding is there is a type of person that is encouraged by sermons and they love sermons. And that's not everybody, but churches are not often providing a venue for those that don't connect with sermons. And so what I feel like our purpose is to connect with that crowd inside and outside of our church. They come to church and they can enjoy a sermon, but they get so much more in a different way from a conversation with somebody about God. And so the deepest, most meaningful parts of my faith have happened when I've had a deep, meaningful conversation with someone about Jesus. You can't always have those conversations. So for me, this podcast is like, how can we have those conversations for people that maybe don't have that circle that can have that conversation? Like we can bring in people to have those conversations for them where they can listen and learn and grow from it without actually having to hang out or get dressed. They can hang out in their pajamas, like that's kind of the purpose I see this as. And it's interesting, when we started this podcast, we didn't know why we existed. And I don't know if 100 episodes in, we feel any more confident about why we exist. But I think what happens on this show is valuable to enough people that it's worth continuing. So when you ask me, should I book guests? I'm like, yes, absolutely should book guests.
Don't you like that I just ask you, like I'm on my way to get breakfast. I'm like, hey, you want to keep doing the show?
Yes, you did ask that.
We don't
That was
even
fun.
like take a big long meeting.
Right.
It's like, hey, are we still going to do
Well,
this?
this is it. This is the meeting. So
This is the meeting right here.
Yeah. So I feel good about it. The question you ask is like, what's hard about it is we have so many other pressing issues for our jobs. Like
Right.
we each have some time consuming stuff. So
Some full-time business.
we do have to like evaluate like the use of being a good steward of the time for this church. You know what I'm saying? Like we're
Yes.
paid to serve this church.
Yes, that's our number one priority
Right.
are are our roles within the church, right?
Yes. What's great about my job is this kind of falls into that role a little bit.
It used to mine in the beginning when
we talked about parenting and families. And
maybe we should move back into that.
Well, our most recent episode was about parenting. It was all about parenting.
Exactly.
It was great. But I think that there's value in having a conversation about God and it not being a presentation. I think a lot of times churches give presentations about God. And then the conversations about God aren't always happening. For a lot of people, one, aren't even involved in community groups, which is nuts. Like if you're not in a community group, please visit cityrise.org/adults and you can find community groups listed there. We need you to be involved in a community group because you can learn so much by a presentation. Is the colonoscopy?
No, that's my alarm to come here.
Oh, you're here.
Yes, I've got to figure out how to stop resetting my alarms. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
But I forgot what I was going to say, but it was really meaningful and poignant.
It was so good.
It was really good.
I know you're upset with me, but I think that you're right. I think that this is a meaningful time together, and to get to hear people talk about their stories and experiences, I think is really, really great. The other night, Andy and I were, this is how lazy I can be. We were laying there and Andy goes, I go, let me set my phone. And Andy's like, how many alarms do you have on your phone? And I said, and I yell out, hey, Siri, how many alarms do I have on my phone? And she responds, you have 60 alarms. And then
she's listening right now.
She proceeds to tell them all to me.
62 alarm.
62.
Currently off. A 2:15 a.m. alarm. Currently off. A 3:20 a.m. alarm. Currently off.
Let me
4:35 a.m.
Wow,
alarm.
she should really list them off.
So, I was too lazy to get up out of bed to go turn the 60 alarms.
Wow.
Andy's like, go get your phone before we have to listen to these 60 alarm times.
And they're not even named.
How many alarms do you have in your phone?
I don't even really use alarms on my phone.
Oh, well, obviously
I have an old
do.
school alarm clock, and that's how I wake up. And
I think I have 6 alarms just within this 7 a.m. hour.
I only set my alarm on time change Sundays because I'm afraid I'm going to miss it.
It's like 7:12 alarm turned off. 7:15 alarm.
How many times
off.
do you snooze in the morning?
Never. It's just I set alarms throughout the day for everything. I don't know how to send myself notes. So I just put an alarm in and hope that I remember what it's for.
It's like the remember all in Harry Potter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like there's Neville Longbottom and he always forgets something. He's a kid that forgets things. And there's this ball that if you squeeze it, it turns a certain color if you've forgotten something, but it doesn't tell you what you forgot.
Yes,
So
it's a little bit like that.
So he'd be like, oh, I forgot something, but I don't know what I forgot.
So what's crazy to me is I'm like, hey, Siri, set an alarm for 3 p.m. or whatever. Yes. And so she's like, okay, I'll turn on your 3 p.m. alarm. Like no alarm that I ever come up with is not something already scheduled in my phone.
Oh, okay.
I'll turn on your 6:12 alarm. Okay. I'll turn on.
But they're not even labeled. You don't even know what they mean.
No.
Wow.
There's maybe 1 or 2 that are labeled.
That's chaotic.
You know what, though? Andy sent me a reminder for the Easter egg hunt. Mm-hmm. And somehow he scheduled it to where it reminds me every single day, several times a day to go to the Easter egg hunt. And I'm like, why did you do this to me? How did you do this? Anyway, you can probably cut that whole section
No,
out.
I thought it was great. It's riveting conversation.
Riveting.
Listen, if somebody's listening at this point to our episode with literally no guests.
They're stuck in the car.
Episode 99.4. Like
yes, there's no guest today.
They have a low threshold of what's entertaining to them.
True.
Because they're still with us.
The threshold is so low. Well, real quick, let me catch up with you before I love that we're talking about why we've planned to continue with the show, because we do think about whether we're going to stick around or not. But how are things going with you?
Things are busy. There's just a lot going on at our church that's really important. And I went from being a student pastor, which was a really important role, and I loved it, but it was very, very siloed, not in a bad way. But
right, there's clear boundaries around it.
I had and
you're not working with a lot of other team members to do it.
Yes,
and
it was a very clear sandbox that sometimes I'd be a part of the church as a whole, but mostly I had a sandbox.
Sure.
I have been elevated, not even like promoted, but like my new job it touches everything our church is doing. And so it's kind of this, I go from being a student pastor in a silo to being this person that's like seeing literally everything happening and almost having my hands in everything. Like
Wow.
in my previous job, I would not have anything to do with your Easter egg hunt. Maybe I'd get some student ministry volunteers, but that's about it. But I'm planning to take pictures. I'm planning to create, like that sort of thing. Or like these video curriculums that we're making. I'm making the kids stuff video. I would have never cared or been concerned about what's happening in kids ministry in my previous job because I had a sandbox. But this is very much you're touching everything. So sometimes it feels overwhelming because some of our initiatives are pretty large. And so that's kind of been a struggle for me in this job is like just a lot of times I feel like I'm drowning because there's just a lot to do, but I'm resourced well. Whenever I'm drowning and I call out for help, they find a way to help me. So that's been really great. You just kind of have to be vocal, be like, hey, I really need help. And so we're growing, I think, in our dreams for what God's going to do a little bit faster than our team can grow. And so we're catching up with the dreams, we're catching up, which is exciting.
That is really exciting.
To instead of the other way around, we have a bunch of people doing nothing, it's like, oh,
Sure.
Okay, we've got big dreams. We're growing into those dreams. And so that's what's happening. So right now I just finished, or I'm about to finish your curriculum for kids stuff. It's going to be used.
We put together, I think, 4 video segments.
4 videos.
So we do it's like a little bit of a Tonight Show kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
Lauren Grossman is my partner in this, and she plays all these different characters.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is about wisdom.
Yeah.
But it was really fun
Yes.
to really fun to video and to create,
Right.
and then to go back and watch these videos. And then there are moments where you kind of laugh out loud and you're like,
Right.
wow, that was cute. That was funny.
Yes. No, it's been really neat. It's been the first set I've worked on. I've got to do the student set and a Spanish set as well. So it's like, well, it's a lot. But then we've got like 31 days of
Provotionals,
devotionals.
Proverbs devotionals.
Proverbs devotionals coming out
You
April
heard it
16th.
here.
Yeah.
Provotionals.
So we're going to be having daily devos from our staff, and we had 31 different videos of people going into a proverb a day and giving you a meaningful nugget out of it. And so that's going to be really exciting. But that all has to be created, and so I'm overseeing a team that makes those for me. We have a company we contract with for some stuff like that. So it's just interesting to go from being siloed to being literally touching everything and sitting in
Sure.
big meetings with like the grownups like that are running our church. And I'm like,
it is so much like that because we meet with our kid stuff team.
Yeah.
I touch base with my,
Yeah.
with Chris to help lead us,
mhm.
but we're usually not in those bigger meetings that are a
Right.
lot more serious, a lot
Yeah.
more lengthy.
It's intimidating.
It is intimidating. It can
Yes.
be very intimidating.
Yes.
What did I want to tell you about that? Shoot, I was
I
going to
don't
say
know.
something and completely
About
forgot
the grown-up meetings?
it. Well, I think that's really exciting. Everything that's
Yeah.
happening. Oh, Proverbs. Here's the deal. I'm pretty familiar. Like, we always made those goals growing up to read Proverbs every day of the month.
Yeah.
So everyone's like really familiar with maybe the first 4 Proverbs.
Yes.
And then after that, you don't remember. Roger really takes it really seriously. He's been reading Proverbs for so long.
Oh, he does it every day?
Yes, I believe
Oh.
so.
Wow.
I mean, he can recall them so quickly.
Wow.
But I'm mildly familiar with the first 4.
Which ones
That
did you
it's
have?
just
Do you remember?
I think I had maybe 19 and 26.
They were good. They were good.
Well, I'm glad. Oh, yes. And you get to hear a devotional from from
Yes.
different staff members.
Yes.
Which I think is cool. Are they all really different?
They are all very different. They're all very different lengths. Some people were more succinct than others, which for me as a short attention span person, I'm like, okay, this is a bit shorter. But
I don't think I'm succinct in it, but I am very short.
But that's good about why, because we have a variety of people going to be consuming these, and some people are going to want a 5-minute Devo, and there's
Sure.
4, 5, 6 days where they'll get a 5-minute Devo, and there's some people are like, hey, I only need 90 seconds, and there's 4, 5, or 6 days that are only 90 seconds. So I think even the variety there is going to be feeding
good.
people in different ways. So I think it works out that everybody kind of did their own length and their own focus. But yeah, it was interesting. We had her on the show last week. Ashley was one of the best ones. She's so
Ashley Mitch.
Yes, she's such a great conversational teacher that her Devo is just very much like you're having coffee with her, which is my favorite way to learn, is if somebody, it feels like I'm sitting down and chatting with them as opposed to them teaching me something.
Right.
And she was one that was very much like, conversational. It feels like we're hanging out with her. And so I'm excited that
she really is a strong communicator.
yeah, it's great. So, but we get to see all of that. We get to see people that don't ever get to teach. You know, people like Kathleen Yarborough, community ministries director, who's a great teacher. She got to do a couple of devos, and obviously you who are more focused on children, our adults get to hear from you. So it's really neat. So all that to say, keep your eye on your emails. If you go to our church, we're going to be giving information on how to get that, about how to listen to those, about how to enjoy those every day, in addition to all the other things we're doing starting after Easter.
Sure.
So my question for you is, you know, my job for Easter is pretty small. Like where our bigger focus is after Easter. You've got a huge weekend coming up. Are you overwhelmed? Are you
We have a
freaking
big
out?
weekend coming up. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Does this go out tomorrow? I mean, does this go?
It goes out this week.
Wednesday? Man, if you are listening on Wednesday,
Pray.
for the weather just to be incredible, for people to come.
Yeah.
It is in our hearts. The Easter egg hunt is like our Easter card to the community.
Yeah.
Like we want families to come, and then we invite them all to our Easter services.
Yeah.
And so we've ordered 15,000 eggs.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Pretty.
And so we have tons of candy. We're going to do face paint. I mean, just so many things. Face paintings, crafts, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, we have picture backdrops. It's going to be such a great time. And so I'm just praying that the weather's really good, that we have a good group of people come. And so please be praying for that. So that's a lot of what's on our brains for this week. And then obviously we're also planning for Easter Sunday, and that's going to be really meaningful. We have a lot of kids come for that. We also have a lot of baptisms on Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of our kids are getting baptized, which is super.
Well, let me say this. So if you're listening this week, so we're talking about Easter week. If you're one of our faithful listeners that's tuning in right as it's available, if you're interested, go to cityrise.org/Easter, and you're going to find a lot of things, particularly information about Sunday services, but also there's a link to Easter baptism that's not too late. Like they'll let you probably walk up an hour before if you have a good conversation with the pastor and get baptized. Now, I wouldn't encourage that because we want to plan for it. But if you or someone you know wants to get baptized, Easter is an incredible weekend to do it. All of our campuses, it's happening. cityrise.org/Easter has a link to a form you can fill out real quick and get in the baptism conversation with the pastor this week. And then, pray about the Easter egg hunt. I will say there's research over and over and over done by the Pew Research Company, which is a Christian company. They say people are far more likely to respond favorably to a church invite on Easter and Christmas. And so if you know somebody in your community that doesn't go to church or is falling out of church, Easter egg hunt number 1, Easter Sunday number 2, I think, if they have families. But inviting someone to an Easter service, it's been proven that people are more likely to say yes to an invitation to Easter or Christmas than any other Sunday of the year. And so if you are looking for a Holy Spirit prompting to invite a friend to church, this is it. He's talking right now. He's telling you that there's somebody in your life who lives locally that could come to church with you on Sunday, bring him. It's going to be a special time at all of our campuses, and love for you to do that. But talking about the weather, I will say as a confession, and I pray against this for you, I would get so mad at God when I was planning a big event for students and the weather was threatening me. I'd be like Disciple Now was a big winter event, and I lived in Virginia and or even in Texas. You can get an ice storm, you can get snow. It's just a crazy time. And I would get so mad at God. I was like, God, I am doing this for you. This is not about me. I'm not throwing this
your honesty with that.
I'm not throwing this
God.
huge event for myself. This is for you and your children. Can you make this work and make it easy for me? And I want to say there's not a moment I remember that God didn't work it out.
Exactly.
Whether it was a miraculous clearing of the weather,
right,
or some sort of adjustment that it made sense to move it or change
this
it.
Turned out so much better.
He's always been
so good.
faithful, but that week leading up when you're watching, you're on the weather app more than you're on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? You're praying.
My team was looking at it today. They're like, it just changed in 20 minutes. How did that happen?
There's no way to know really until the day before.
I'm just sort of backing away from the weather situation.
But
for
I do hope.
days.
How are you handling that as just a Christian?
Well, we've decided that if it is terrible weather, we're going to send the word out through all the families and everybody in the community that we can get a hold of, that we're just going to turn our Easter egg hunt into little special care packages.
Yeah.
And have it for Sunday morning
Easter
church.
Sunday, yeah.
So you can come pick it up on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
I will say one year, it was 2020 when we weren't able to have the Easter egg hunt, and we decided we wanted it. This is Like, and we decided that we were going to do something special for our families.
Yeah.
So we sent out Easter egg like basket packages to all of our families.
Uh-huh.
Well, here's the mistake. I was like, well, some families have one kid, some families have like 3.
Yeah.
So I put a different number of items in the package for every family going out.
Wow.
So that means you have to individually weigh and like meter every single package.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done.
Wow.
I learned so much about mailing.
Wow.
Maybe keep this out of the show because I think if you put this in the show, people are going to start to question my level of intelligence because so I ended up at the post office for 3 hours because they ran out of stamps, all the stamps I needed. Wow. So there were some people that got Easter envelopes.
Yeah.
With 3 suckers, like 3 suckers, some like activities, some coloring stuff. And there would be like 62 1-cent stamps
oh my God.
on their package.
So this was during the pandemic? I don't recall
This
this.
is during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then we got a lot of it wrong.
Yeah.
So one of the post offices in town, they were very particular. If you got it wrong, it got sent back to the church. So get boxes sent back.
Oh, no.
And another post office is like, whatever, we'll take it and
Yeah.
send it out. We don't care. We're not putting up with this. So then we would have to go add postage, or we ended up having to deliver it on people's.
I don't remember this chaos. Once again, I was in my silo during that season.
It was complete
So,
chaos.
Wow. Well, my question for you is, what's keeping y'all from, if it does rain during Kid Rally, could y'all not do mini Easter egg
Yes,
hunts?
if
it's clear on
yes,
Sunday,
of
if the
course.
weather's good on Sunday.
If the weather is, okay, so if we come into a problem, we will make Kid Rally special. We can probably do some egg hunts on that day within our Kid Rally time.
Yeah.
And then hand out some little packages and treats for everybody. A lot of people take their kids to service on Sunday for Easter Sunday because they get to be for baptism. Yes, everybody's wearing matching clothes. It's the time for everybody to worship together. So we like for that to be meaningful too. So we have a little activity pack for kids to sort of be in the service with their parents.
So something will happen. I am confident the weather will clear off, but if it doesn't, you know.
Yes, I'm trusting in God either way.
Yeah.
I'm like you. God works things out. I know he does. And so, but we're looking forward to a really
It
cool
is so
weekend.
much more freeing once you start believing that God's going to do whatever he wants and just trust him. Like, I don't know if you're quite there the way I am, because you have a worry element to you that I don't. I still get stressed about stuff. I don't want to say that I'm immune to it, but there came just a shift in my life where I was just like, do I believe that God is sovereign? And if I believe that, why am I stressing?
Sure.
Like, I've got to move on.
And if you don't believe that God is sovereign, that means that there's part of you that believes that God is depending on you to make things work out.
Yeah.
And you have to get to the point where God is sovereign.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if you're depending on me, Lord, I think this plan is.
But it just makes life so much easier. And if you're not there, it's not a matter of just like thinking, oh, I got to start believing that. I think it is a matter of prayer, saying, God, in my head, I believe you're sovereign, but in my heart, I don't believe it. Obviously, that's why I'm worrying so much. So it's praying for the Holy Spirit to give you. I think it's a gift. Like, I think it really
I absolutely think it's a gift.
A gift from the Holy Spirit to be able to fully, it's faith that God's in control, no matter the situation. So if you're there thinking in your head, I know God's in control, but in my heart, I'm constantly worried, then you need to start praying that God connects those two things. And for whatever reason, there's something missing, whether it's just you're not depending on God enough to make that in you. Like, you can't force yourself to trust God. But once that switch flipped, there's just so few things I worry about anymore. Like, okay, whatever. If God wants this to happen, I just can't do anything about it. Or if God doesn't want this to happen, I can't do anything about it. So I'm just going to do my best and just trust. And so I think that's what the Easter thing is about. It's like you're just doing whatever you can, trusting God if you want.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a great Easter and have everyone together. And so I'm really looking forward to it. It's such a celebratory time of year. It's meaningful.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really looking forward to next week when we record our 100th episode.
Yes, it's going to be special. So,
not 99.44.
Yeah, it'll be great.
So
let me ask you this. I'll do the closing question. Do you have any Easter memories of like gifts or things that you had? Like, for me, I remember very specifically each year we would make our Easter baskets that we'd hunt with.
You would make the baskets?
So like, my mom was crafty, and so she'd find ways for us to use crafts.
That is crafty.
And so what we did was, I remember very specifically one year we took well, we took bleach bottles and cleaned them. And if you cut a bleach bottle or, a jug around, you got a basket part. And then you cut another strip and like staple it together. And
all your eggs kind of just had a
they
slight
smelled a little,
bleach.
they were very clean. They were very clean eggs. They were very safe. But then she like wrapped it in like old blue jeans and handkerchiefs. So it was like
that's cool.
Kind of a cowboy type thing. So I remember doing that. I do remember we did the Easter bunny. If anybody's listening with their kids, we did do that. And so we'd wake up. It was like mini Christmas. It was like you'd wake up.
It's like a mini Christmas.
Like, did y'all do that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that for Olivia? Because we don't. I don't know why we lost it, but like we don't do like Easter presents.
We probably did for a while, but no, not consistently.
We've never done it.
It's like, here's some out. You know what I remember though? I remember my family getting, we would all get new Easter dresses. That was a special time. We go out and
you had to get nice clothes.
Because it's all 3 girls. So we would all go find Easter dresses. We would shop all day.
Yeah.
And even some years would do Easter hats.
Yeah.
And they were really beautiful. We get new shoes. Everything would be new for Easter.
Do you still do that or no?
No, I get new tennis shoes because I wear tennis shoes to church. I mean, we're playing at church.
Yes.
Like I'm playing basketball at church.
Yeah.
So I get new tennis shoes usually.
Because you wear your
Easter.
kids' stuff shirt. You're already wearing that. Like,
yes.
You have a uniform. Like you wear a kids' stuff shirt every Sunday.
Mostly. I used to. I've stopped doing that now, but
oh,
yes.
okay.
Well, and then, okay, so Easter egg hunting was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And we would do it at both of my grandparents on Easter Sunday. We'd go to Easter church.
Yeah.
And then we would go to their house, eat lunch, and go Easter egg hunting.
Yeah.
And they were real eggs, both families. And I just remember in the beginning at one grandmother's house, it was all pristine and sweet. And we just had a blast. And by the time I got to my other grandmother's, I don't know our eggs were getting a little worn out.
Oh.
And by the time we were into the late afternoon, man, those eggs had it. They had beaten down, cracked parts of them. They were disgusting.
You know, it's funny talking about Easter. That just triggered something in me about childhood. So my parents got divorced when I was 2. One of only like 2 pictures I've ever seen of me and my brother and my mom and dad all together is an Easter picture.
Oh, wow.
And it was obviously at a church because we were dressed up nice, but we also had our Easter basket. So it was like, we do it separate days now, but back in the day, it was like all on Sunday. Like
on Sunday.
And so I'm telling you, one of 2 or 3 pictures I've ever seen in my life of all 4 of my family members together, like before they got divorced, is an Easter picture. And so it's just interesting that you mentioned that, like, oh, wow, like the Easter picture really is a big deal.
It's the classic.
And so make sure you get ready for that on Sunday, I guess.
Exactly.
But now you got your camera
right.
phone, so it's like so easy. But,
yes. Very
so yeah,
easy.
so if you enjoy this episode, man, thank you for sticking with us. We
I know,
we love
right?
you. This really was for the people who love this show. Like,
yes, this episode was just
I don't care if only 15 people listen to this because we just don't want to miss a week because we feel so connected to those people that enjoy this show that we don't want to let you down. Like you're really one of the reasons that we keep going. And so when we're having this conversation of like, we don't want to rush the 100th episode. We also don't want to just skip a week and not have a conversation to, connect with our crowd and whatever. So if you listened, great. We love you. If you enjoyed it, send it to somebody. But you can always rate, review, subscribe. You can listen now and watch on YouTube. I'll link the video in the description below if you want to go back and watch this and see and prove that Jennifer's wearing the same shirt as she was for the previous episode. You can watch it on YouTube. But just thank you. You can always email us at podcast@theorize.org. We are looking at the next 100 episodes and interviewing people.
The next 100.
Send us people that you think we'd like to talk to.
Oh, for sure. Thanks everybody. You've already done the question. It was tell us about Easter.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect one. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us. We hope you've had an almost amazing time on the Almost Amazing Dinner Party.
Get your colon checked.
Get your colon checked.